I found a problem on the internet and I fixed it. Yeah. Welcome back. My name is Andrew, and today's video is all about how to make a vegan caramel cake. So we haven't made a new cake here on this channel in a while, and I've been on this kick of ultimately wanting to just put caramel on everything, like literally everything food related. Not that you were thinking of something else, just clarifying. So I'm on the couch watching TV and I took a shot at Googling vegan caramel cake just to kind of see what comes up. And there is not a single solid recipe out there, hence the problem. So like Batman, I see the signal out there in the air and I'm like, I gotta fix this. I gotta get to the kitchen. I'm in the middle of this hot episode of Dora the Explorer, and she's singing some backpack, 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 backpack. My baby girl is on my lap, and she's acting all like cute and innocent. But really, at this point, she's in the way of greatness happening. So I did what any parent would do. I put her in a headlock, and I said like, dog, get off me, and tossed her to the side. I rushed to the door to go grab my keys and my apron. I hop in the car, I throw it in gear, and then I realize I don't know where I'm going. My kitchen is inside the house. At this point, I wasn't just gonna walk back inside the house. So I took a lap. Yep. And then I made the cake. So we're making caramel. Let me just say this, to make caramel, all of the ways are pretty much the same in the way you make it, or the process I should say, but some processes are just easier than others. So this is going to be the absolute best way to make homemade vegan caramel. Now get your pen, get your pad, whatever notebook you have, grab your kids, grab your dog, everybody needs to pay attention. First thing you wanna do is have all of your ingredients out and measured, because this process waits for nobody. Start out by putting all of your sugar into a large saucepan. Now, you want the saucepan to be large because you want most of your sugar to make contact with the pan. This is gonna help it cook evenly and make sure it doesn't crystallize. From here, add some water into the pan and whisk everything around to get it mixed up. This isn't necessarily a requirement, but if you wanna make things easier on yourself and definitely not crystallize that sugar, do this step. From here, crank your heat up to medium-high heat, but definitely keep a close eye. Like, don't leave it and stop watching it. You're not gonna touch the pan at all. You're just gonna allow everything to come to a boil and give it roughly about 6 to 8 minutes-ish. And really what you're looking for is the smell of the sugar to smell different. Some people say nutty. To me, personally, it's more like a burnt smell, but a good burnt one. So everyone's burner is going to be different. I would probably say somewhere between that 9 to 11 minute mark, your sugar should start to caramelize. Personally, even though I'm experienced in making caramel, my biggest recommendation here is gonna be use a thermometer. So when your thermometer measures just about 340 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, at this point, you want to pull that pot off and then pour in your coconut cream. When you're pouring in that cream, the mixture is going to go crazy. So definitely use, I would say, maybe a long-handled wooden spatula or anything but a metal handle, basically to whisk that together, because it's gonna get hot. If for whatever reason you don't have a wooden handle or something other than metal, then what I like to do is use one of my oven mitts, and I use that on the handle as I'm trying to whisk this together. Because again, that heat is hot. like morning breath on a hyena. Next, add in your butter, and you want to whisk that around just to get it completely melted. Sometimes I like to return it back to the stove. That will help that mixture thicken up a bit and also help that butter melt. When your mixture is done, at this point, you just want to remove it from the heat and allow it to cool for maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours before you refrigerate. Once it's complete, it should look a little like this. For our cake, we're gonna start out preheating the oven and prepping our cake pans. Also, let's get started on our buttermilk. Now from here, I typically would start by creaming my butter and my sugar together in a stand mixer. But because of the video, I kind of already had things separated. So what I wanted to do is just get my dry ingredients together, give that a whisk, and then actually start on that first step. But if you want to make this cake in one bowl, just like I said before, definitely start with the stand mixer and your butter first. So make sure your butter is softened, add it into the bowl, and begin to cream it together with your sugar. This is a really important step because you want to make sure your butter goes from that yellow color to more like a pastel yellow color when it's done being creamed together. Probably gonna take you about 2 to 3 minutes. From here, you're gonna add in the rest of your wet ingredients. So I add in my vanilla and I make sure that's incorporated pretty well. And then from there, I go with my caramel and make sure that's incorporated well too. Now, dump your flour mixture into the bowl. Again, if you didn't do this in the very first steps that I mentioned, then what you would do is put your flour, your salt, and your baking powder into the bowl at this time. Now, turn on your stand mixer and slowly pour in your buttermilk mixture into the bowl. Once that's mixed together well, you want to take your cake pans and split that batter into each of them evenly. Now, move your cake pans into the oven and move on to making your buttercream. To start making your buttercream, this is technically the easiest part of everything. Maybe. But what you want to do is put that butter into the bowl and start creaming that together. Now, add your powdered sugar into the bowl. Me, I like to do it about a cup at a time. I do that because once you turn the stand mixer on, if all of your powdered sugar was in there, it would go everywhere. Last step is to add your caramel in and beat that all together. Now your buttercream, at this point, you're looking for it to be smooth, thick, and spreadable. I get it. I should have chose different adjectives. Time for the assembly. And honestly, this is the fun part, and probably the part you can make your own. In my opinion, this cake is good without anything else added to it. But now that you have your buttercream and some extra caramel, let's add it in to spice things up. Just keep in mind, you're piling more sugar onto an already sweet cake. So keep in mind, that sweetness level can jump from rubber ducky straight up to my heart just jumped out of my chest and slapped me and said, I'm gonna send you to the hospital. So here's some quick tips to help you. Have you ever heard of a crumb coat or a naked cake? Essentially, they're the same thing. And it means you're just putting very little frosting on your cake. Now, that's what I did. And what I think that does is it gives it a very rustic look, but it also saves you on the sweetness level on the cake. Another thing you can do is you can salt your caramel. Now, what that's gonna help with is help balance that sweetness and that bitterness, and everybody loves that combination. Lastly, keep in mind this cake has caramel in the batter and it has caramel in the frosting. So you don't technically have to add any caramel on top. You don't have to add caramel on top. I'm gonna add caramel on top. Finally, I haven't needed a holiday to honestly show appreciation to you. Every day, I'm pretty humbled by the time and energy you spend with my family and I on a daily basis. Overall, just the sheer love that you send us on a daily is just phenomenal and amazing, and we appreciate that. So thank you for everything. I mean, all of it. And remember, believe in good. Peace.